Hi, this is Eric Colburn from EricColburn.com and Colburn Strategic Partners, and welcome to the Professional Land Surveyor Learning Center course DataGram 3D-100, working with real data. This is exercise one. We'll be working with images. An important thing to know about DataGram 3D is that there's a camera calibration process that calibrates the camera that you use to take the images. So I don't have that camera, you don't have that camera, but we do have the camera calibration file. So an alternative method to doing your own calibration, which is a very simple process we'll go over in a different course, but what we can do is import that camera calibration. So somebody else has done the calibration that took the the raw data images that we're going to be working with and exported that. We're now going to import that. So what we can do, I have DataGram 3D open. We have not created a job yet. We'll do that in the next step. And it doesn't matter which order we go in. We could have created the job first and then import the camera calibration, but I'm just going to take care of this first. Go to Tools. The first option is calibration library. And here's some others I already have stored. We'll click Import and then navigate to the raw data files that you downloaded. And in that raw data folder, there's a calibration folder, and there's a file in that called lavi_24 megapixel. And that you want to select, click Open, and it tells us that the camera calibration import was successful. And you can see it was added at the end of the list here. And this is just some information important information about the camera calibration, but you don't need to worry about any of that at this point. Okay, it's a camera calibration that will match up to the camera that was used. It is of the camera that was used for the images we're going to import in a minute. All right, so let's click OK to close that dialog box. I think the next step we should do is create a job. So let's go to File, New Job, and let's call it, let's see, we'll call it D3D, D3D-100 for the course. You can call it whatever you like. It really doesn't matter at this point, as long as you know what the job name is in case you need to find it again. And we'll click OK. So one of the things, so now it starts that job and we're ready to begin. But first thing, let's just do a quick look at see where that job got stored. So if we open up File Explorer, we go to our documents, open up the file DataGram 3D, or the folder I should say, and then jobs. I have a lot of jobs in here. So there it is, D3D-100. We'll open that up. And right now there's just a job XML file and a backup folder. Now, as I told you in the earlier part of the introductory part of the course, for organizational purposes, you might want to take all that raw data, those three files and the three folders and the coordinate file, and you might want to copy or move it into this folder so that it's all organized together. But there's no real necessity to do that. That's really just up to you. Okay, so what we can do is we can choose the calibration that we just imported. So up on the upper right hand side, there's a drop down list, and that we have to load the images first. I'm sorry, I wasn't not thinking. We have to load the images first. So let's go to our raw data. Okay, and there are 19 images. The way they came out of the camera, they were started with a DSC and then a bunch of numbers and the JPEG files. I added a numbering system in front of that, 1 to 19, just to show you that those are 19 images that we're doing, but also that it's important that when we import these, when they're in the job, they have to go in the order that they were taken. Okay, you don't want to be jumping around or the next step will not work very well, which is linking the images. So we selected all the images. We click open. It's now going to load those images. Okay. And I'm just going to get my timer ready here because the next step is we're going to link, well, we're going to select the camera calibration, and then we're going to link these images together, or the software is going to do that for us, but it's going to take a while. So I'm going to stop the video when that happens, stop my timer, and then when it's done linking the images, I'll start the video up again. It probably will take about 15-20 minutes, but that way I can tell you exactly how much time it took. So now we can select the camera calibration. All right, so there's the new 24 MPLAVI. Could not read it without my glasses. I apologize. And then really all we have to do is click the link button, and I'm hitting my stopwatch now. Okay, so it's going to go through, and what it's doing, just to give you a little bit of background, is it's using common pixels between the images to link the images together. We're not creating one complete image all stitched together, but geometrically it's going to understand better how these images relate to each other by using common pixels. You don't have to worry about doing any of that. It's doing that in the background. And while this might take, and we'll talk a little bit about time in a minute, but while this might take 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending on how many images you have in, or longer, it's important to note that prior to this linking step, when you worked with DatuGram 3D, older versions of it, that we had to georeference and anchor 4 control points in every image. But when this step is done and it has successfully linked all the images together into a cluster, at that point, we don't have to have control points on every image. So this 15 minutes or so of linking saves you probably an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on how many images you have again, versus the old version. The other benefit is it really adds to the accuracy of working with these images, and it allows us to bring in more images, which also adds to the accuracy and really the efficiency of the algorithms working in the background. So it had a lot of good benefits by linking the images together. So with that said, this is going to take about 15 minutes. It's about 2 minutes now into it. So just a little bit of word about time is that one of the key factors for how long this process takes, I'm sure a part of it is the processing speed of your computer, although I don't think that's a big part of it. What I know to be the big part of it is the speed of your hard disk. So in my case, my laptop that I'm working on is not particularly souped up high-end laptop at all, but it does have a good bit of memory. But more importantly, it has a solid state drive. So we do know that a solid state drive, this process goes a little bit faster than a hard drive, which just is a little bit slower in processing that data in and out off of the drive as it's working. So with that said, I'm just going to pause the video, and then we'll come back again. Let's see, we're about 2.5 minutes in. We'll come back and well, you won't notice the difference, but I'll unpause the video in about 13 minutes my time, and I'll let you know how long it took, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm back. I restarted the video. It was on pause for about 10 minutes or so that you did not see. In total, when I ran the linking of those images, it took a little bit quicker than I had anticipated. It did it in about 12 minutes and 53 seconds, so about 13 minutes. So at this point, the images are all linked. You can see it says underneath where we linked, it says images are linked in one cluster. There are sometimes if there's enough of a little bit of a gap between images, that you might get linked in 2 or 3 clusters. And unfortunately, I can't show it to you right now because it did link in one cluster. But when that happens, there's another button that opens up here, and there's an actual manual process to be able to link those different clusters together, which is pretty simple. Again, I think that's a little bit more advanced. We'll do that in the more advanced DataGram 3D courses to come. I don't think you just really need to worry about it right now. We got good results with images linked in one cluster. So that's it. So to review, what we did in this exercise is we imported a camera calibration from the raw data files that you downloaded. We created a new job. We called it D3D-100. You could call it whatever you like. And we imported the image. We imported the images. We selected the calibration from the drop-down list in the camera calibration library, and we linked the images together. That was processed automatically for you, and the images are all linked in one cluster. So when we come back, the next video for the next section is going to be about georeferencing. So we'll take these images, which now, while they're linked together, they're in their own coordinate system, if you will, or interrelated to each other, but not in a real world sense. And we'll take that and apply the survey data to these images and georeferencing them so that from that point on, whatever we're doing, we're working in the coordinate system of that coordinate file that was brought in from the field surveying. And if this had been your project, it would be your coordinates in your project coordinate system, and you'd be good to go. So that's the next exercise. If you were just seeing this video on YouTube or on my website or somewhere on the interwebs, and you want to learn more about this free course, you can go to ericcolburn.com/learn. It's there. It's free. You just have to register and sign up for the Professional Land Surveyor Learning Center, which is fast and easy. I'm Eric Colburn from ericcolburn.com and Colburn Strategic Partners. I want to thank you. Work smart and be brilliant.